Jim Schultz here for Calculated Risk, and don't forget, before we get started, the best ways you can help us are liking the video or subscribing to the channel. Both of those things really help us out a ton. So we already know that options lose value over time. I mean, that is the basis of theta decay, and that is largely the thing that we are banking on as premium sellers. That's why we're doing what we do every single day. But there's actually an altogether different type of decay that doesn't have anything to do with time. It has to do with volatility itself. Now, it might not be volatility specifically decaying over time, but the sensitivity of volatility absolutely decays over time. And so that's what I want to talk about here this morning, because when we sell premium as option sellers, it's not just about time. It's also about volatility, and this is a really important aspect of volatility that might surprise you, so let's get into it. Okay, so let's start with the foundation, right? As an option seller, as a premium seller, what am I trying to do? I am trying to sell the option up here and then buy it back down there. So I want the premium to go down. I want the credit that I collect on entry to move lower. That would allow me to be profitable on the position. Okay, so what can cause an option price to go down? Well, we've actually talked about this on a previous episode of Calculated Risk, so definitely hop into the archives and give that guy a look. But there are three basic ways that control option P&L on every single trade. There's direction, there's time, and there's volatility. So if I get the directional move right, that's going to help the option price move in my favor. But from a non-directional standpoint, you've got time and you've got volatility. So time passing is going to allow the option premium to move lower, which is going to help me as an option seller. But also, there's volatility contracting. If volatility does indeed move down, if volatility does indeed contract, then that is going to allow me to reach my profit objectives on the position, whatever they might be, a lot more quickly and a lot more efficiently. So while we typically think about theta, and we typically think about time decay and time passing as being the driver of what it is that we're trying to do, and that's not necessarily wrong, it very much is the driver of what it is that we're trying to do, there's also this volatility component where if volatility does contract over the life of a trade, then you get a nice little kicker. Like, you get a nice little volatility bonus that gets layered on top of the time, and it can allow you to reach, 50% of max profit or whatever your profit target might be a lot more quickly than you would have done otherwise. Okay, but to dig even deeper into volatility, and specifically the sensitivity of volatility over the life of a trade, we have to turn our attention to Vega. Now, Vega is one of the option Greeks, and it shows you for every 1 point move in implied volatility in that stock, how much is the option price expected to move. So if an option has a Vega of 20, that means that the option price is expected to move by 20 cents for every 1 point move in implied volatility in that underlying stock or that underlying asset. And one of the core characteristics of Vega that seasoned option traders use all the time, every single day, when they're thinking about different strategies or different things that they might want to do, is this element of how Vega is different depending on where you're at in the expiration cycle or where you're at in terms of the DTE of the expiration cycle that you are looking at. So for example, if I'm looking at an option that has, or a cycle that has 45 days to go or 50 days to go, that has a much greater Vega than a cycle that only has 10 days to go or 20 days to go. So a core characteristic of Vega is it is much higher for longer dated options, and it is much smaller for shorter dated options. So in other words, that means if I'm looking at an option that's much longer in time, it has more DTE, so 40, 50, 60 DTE, whatever, that's going to be much more impacted by changes in volatility. It's going to be much more sensitive to changes in volatility because it has a higher Vega. Conversely, if I'm only looking at an option that has 7 DTE or 10 DTE or 3 DTE or 0 DTE, of course, that's essentially not going to be impacted by volatility really at all, because the Vega is so small on those options that any changes in volatility don't really move the needle because you're so close to expiration. The intrinsic value of the position is going to be the driver of that train, and there really isn't anything else that's going to have a big impact. It almost becomes a purely directional play when you get that close to expiration. And this relationship is actually why we set up certain strategies the way that we set them up. So calendar spreads or diagonal spreads specifically. If you look closely at those strategies, you'll notice they follow the same theme. You'll notice they follow the same structure. We're buying options in the back month with higher Vega. We're selling options in the front month with lower Vega. We want to be net positive Vega on the overall position so that if volatility does move higher, then we can get paid for that pop in volatility. And so calendar spreads, diagonal spreads are almost always going to be positive Vega positions because of the relationship between the long option in the back month and the short option in the front month. Okay, but strategy selection aside, like one of the things you see us talk about at Tasty all the time is getting into our trades at 45 days to go. Well, why do we do that? Well, one of the primary reasons we do that is because of the theta decay curve. We want to get in right where the decay is beginning to move about a lot more favorably in our direction, and the extrinsic value on the position is starting to really dissipate a lot more quickly. You can start to see the slope of the curve begin to change right around 45 days to go. So that is largely considered the primary reason why we like to enter trades around 45 days to go. That's true, of course, but it's not the only reason. Because we just learned, right? When you start thinking about longer term options, and not super long term, but again, 30, 40, 50, 60 DT, relative to really short term options, 14 DT, 10 DT, 7 DT, and even within the same week, you're going to see this Vega differential. Well, if I get into a trade around 45 days to go, then I'm entering the trade when the Vega is relatively high for that trade. So now I'm not talking about different expiration cycles. I'm not talking about different legs across different strategies and calendars and diagonals and all these things. I'm talking about the same trade within the same expiration cycle, the exact same phenomenon that you see with a calendar spread or a diagonal spread. It plays out over the life of a given position. And so what that means is this: if I put on a trade at 45 days to go, if I sell high volatility by looking at the IV rank or looking at the raw IV or looking at the IV percentile, whatever methodology you're using to do that, if I sell volatility at 45 days to go, if I'm right and volatility does contract because it has this tendency to mean revert and it wants to move back to the lower end of its range, all the things we talk about on the network pretty much every single day, then I'm going to get paid handsomely on that volatility contraction. Why? Because at 45 days to go, I have a higher Vega. At 45 days to go, I have more sensitivity to volatility. So if it does indeed contract, I'm going to see the position able to reach its profit target a lot more efficiently and a lot more quickly. Now, as the trade moves on, like as the trade begins to unfold and the DTEs shrink, and then I'm getting closer and closer to expiration, then what is happening? Well, one of the things that's happening that is specifically related to what we're talking about right here is that Vega, it is dropping off. That Vega is moving lower and lower and lower. And so that means that I'm not as sensitive to volatility as I was at the beginning of the trade. So if volatility does continue to contract or begin to contract or what have you when I'm at 30 DTE or 25 DTE or 20 DTE or what have you, I'm just not going to get paid like I was at the beginning of the trade when it was at 45 days to go. So if you start to put these pieces together, hopefully it's starting to make a lot of sense. Okay, this is one of the reasons why we like to manage our trades early. This is one of the big reasons why around 21 days to go, we're like, man, I want to be out of this trade, especially with an undefined risk position. Defined risk is kind of a different animal, but with undefined risk, for sure, if I stay in this trade, even if I get the move that I want from a volatility standpoint, I'm just not going to get paid like I was at the beginning of the trade. The reality is the days from 21 days to go down to 0 days to go are much different from 45 days to go to 21 days to go. You're just not being compensated the way that you were in the first half of the cycle. So this is one of the reasons why, if you look at all the tasty research on the market measures and the option jives and all the different content that they produce and all the great research that they're pumping out, you will notice that the results in the first half of expiration cycles for undefined risk strategies specifically are oftentimes far more impressive than the second half of the cycle. What are the reasons for that? Well, it's multifactorial. Of course, you've got gamma risk, you've got the added directional risk as you get closer to expiration, all those things. But I would posit one of the reasons why the results in the first half of the cycle are far more impressive than the second half of the cycle is because of this volatility sensitivity. It's because of these higher Vegas naturally in that first half of the cycle relative to the second half of the cycle. And so if we take a minute and just zoom out for a second, and we think about what we're doing as option sellers, we think about what we're doing at trade entry at 45 days to go. Like, what are the things that are working for us? Again, theta is the low-hanging fruit. Theta is the obvious answer. That is the decay that many option sellers are hanging their hat on. But it's not the only type of decay. It's not the only thing that is decaying that you need to be aware of, because the sensitivity to volatility is also decaying over the life of the trade. So let's zoom out for a second. Like, if I'm an option seller, what am I hanging my hat on? Like, what is working for me? Well, again, theta is the low-hanging fruit. I sell options. I want time working for me. Time passing is helping move the option price lower. All the things we all know that we lean on every single day. But there's a second type of decay that is also working for me if I position myself to take advantage of it. And it's the sensitivity to volatility and how that changes and does indeed decay over the life of an option. So again, just remember, the first half of the cycle pays you a lot more than the second half of the cycle. You're just not getting paid for taking all that risk. And so especially when it comes to your undefined risk strategies, your naked strategies, manage those guys at 21 days to go one way or another and use the sensitivity to volatility to your advantage. And we'll see you guys next time.